Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me in this video. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. The DSS Director is under fire. Ejimako, the lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, tackles him because what Nnamdi Kanu did and asked people to do about 10 years ago, 6 years ago, that is what the DSS Director has come out to beg Nigerians to do, the first line of defense. The DSS Director yesterday in a video where he was addressing the solution to the insecurity challenges in Nigeria, said every community must arm themselves to kill terrorists. He made mention of what happened in Tafawa Balewa and local government in Bauchi, different places, that the reason why the Fullani bandits and the Boko Haram no longer go there is because if you go there, you will not come back alive. That if the terrorist comes there, they will kill the terrorists. Okay? So because of that, the internet is on fire. And the DSS Director, one of the charges he filed against Nnamdi Kanu is that Nnamdi Kanu said people should defend themselves, which is contrary to the established police and military. It's one of the things they find against Nnamdi Kanu. Do you see how hate, animosity is making these people to detain an innocent person? So, before I go further to explain what Ejimako said, so that people will not say we are just saying what the DSS Director did not say, okay? Let us hear from the DSS Director. Stay with me in this video. After listening to what he said by himself, let us come back to understand the position of Nnamdi Kanu and Aloy Ejimako. Take a listen.
Thinking seriously about the practical approach to mobilizing to curb insecurity, I'll share experience with you when I was state director in Bauchi. Most of you will remember an incident in Azari. A group of terrorists, the Boko Haram, then had invaded Azari. They were shooting in an attempt to kidnap, and the community chased them. They killed some members of the community, but the community members killed all of them. The last guy, Khalid, climbed onto a tree and was firing. The community stood, they were resilient, and they killed Khalid. Since that day, there has not been one terrorist attack in Azari. As a matter of fact, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, said, and I quote, if we want to stop or curb this terrorism, we shall emulate the Azari example. Tafawa Balewa also happened to be a local government in Bauchi that was always in flames. And the people of Bogoro and some part of Tafawa Balewa, where the Sayawas are, rose up on one occasion. They knew their terrain better, climbed onto trees and mountains. And when the invaders came, they did not only repel them, they seized their weapons. And since then, you can attest to it that you hardly hear about Tafawa Balewa again. What I'm trying to say, the practical approach to mobilizing people, is that you have to get everyone involved. You do not expect the Nigerian Army, police, DSS, to protect every Nigerian or every community. It is not going to work. In the US, if you visit someone in the house, you'll be shocked that when the guy hears a police siren, he will just pull his drawer, bring out his gun and keep it. So one of my hosts did that, and I asked him, why are you putting gun here? He said, well, if they are chasing someone and he enters my house, I'll shoot him first. And that is the layer we have to start thinking about. How can you create first line of defense? The military, police, and other security agencies are to deal with the bigger ones, the organized ones. But it is impossible for us to deploy to every community in the country. It is unimaginable that any security agencies that has the resources to do it. So as we live here, we all belong to one community or the other. What we have to start experimenting is how we can make the community to prepare first, if the first line of defense for us. General Wahab said it clearly. And for me, there are 3 takeaways from his lecture. By the way, the general and I were guest speaker at one program in our office, so I'm not surprised that it's a dexterity. He has developed some sort of expertise in what he does. But 3 things for me. He asked us a question. What is our own culture? Our culture is communal. We do things together. Festival together. Ceremonies together. Wedding ceremony, whatever. So why can't we fight some miscreants, some charlatans among us together? The community should say, you cannot come here. This is what Tafawa Balewa has done. If you go to that community to attack them, you'll be sorry for yourself. I challenge anybody to try it. And this is the way we have to do. We have to allow some level of armament for the communities, and they can serve as the first line of defense. Second takeaway from what the general said. All society approach is not the first time we are hearing. But what I'm saying, the way to do it is when we live here, those of us who have some influence, the elites in society, discuss with your communities, come to us, get some sort of approval and guidance, and then we can stop these criminals. You can imagine you call sector, let's say sector 4 or whatever, sector of the army, to come to this community if there's an attack. Before they even arrive there, if they attack another community, what happens? This is what we should take away from here. And lastly, he said something very instructive. By the way, I like Osman. He knows who to give time. Have you seen him around here? He has advised himself. So don't run into trouble like the CDS. Okay, so last thing he said to us, which is quite important, is that we should not make this another talk show. And that's why this is my intervention. That security starts from you.
Now, do you now understand what the DSS director is saying? You know, I used to tell you people that time without number, that as time goes on, people will be fallen back to the reality and the truth. The truth is that Nigeria is not sustainable. Nigeria is not sustainable, okay? There is no way. See, once the government has hand in insecurity, it will go down to destroy the nation. So tell me, what Nnamdi Kanu said and what this man said, and they find Nnamdi Kanu for saying his own, they charge him, and this is a DSS director. This is a DSS director. Former Army head T.Y. Danjuma said even more than that, that if you did not arm yourself to defend yourself, that police and military are colluding with the terrorists, that they will wipe you away. So what is the hula baloo about Nnamdi Kanu is all about? And unlike the boldness and steps Ejimako has taken to always tackle them, reminding them that this thing you said was the reason why you people are detaining Nnamdi Kanu. Now, let's understand the details of what Ejimako said. It reads that under Ejimako Special Counsel to detain indigenous people of Biafra leader Nnamdi Kanu has slammed the Director General of the Department of State Service, DSS, Mr. Adeonda Oluwatosin Ajayi, over his recent statement that Nigerians must take responsibility for their own security, as the military, police, and intelligence agencies do not have the capacity to protect every community from terrorist attacks nationwide. what the DSS director said is true, that they don't have the capacity. They must accept the reality that they have failed. They must accept the reality that this is a shameful act. They must accept the reality that Nigeria can never be sustainable. But it's a hard reality though. Even you watching me, it's a hard reality for you to, succumb to. But the reality is going to hit you. In Nigeria, if it has not happened to you, you won't understand what others are going through. But when it hits you, look at people from Niger Delta now say they want to secede. Uromi people are beginning to understand what Igbos do said about all this attack and defending yourself. It's a reality that will be done on anyone. Now, Sahara reporters reported on Tuesday that Ajayi made the remarks during the public engagement which Symphony broadcasted. He referenced past incident in Bauchi State where local communities successfully fought off Boko Haram insurgents without waiting for security forces. So that was what Sahara reporters reported yesterday. So it is important we understand that this issue is not because someone doesn't know what he or she is doing. Nnamdi Kanu has ever been right, okay? Nnamdi Kanu has ever been right. Now, it says that Ejimako, who took to social media, highlight what he called a double standard in the Nigerian government treatment of Kanu, reminded the DSS DG that Kanu is being unjustly held for making a similar statement. The lawyer pointed out that Kanu's call for self-defense was cited as a justification for his arrest. Extraordinary rendition from Kenya in 2021 and subsequent prosecution for incitement of violence. They called what Nnamdi Kanu said incitement for violence, while the DSS director is saying the same thing. You see why this Nigeria is doomed and doomed forever? Now, Ejimako said, defend yourself is the same thing Nnamdi Kanu said that was twisted to justify his extraordinary rendition and charging him for incitement of violence. This is a shameful thing, okay? It's a shameful thing to Nigeria government, the DSS, and whoever that is connected to that inhuman treatment. Now, he further stated that Kanu's remark has been a key factor in the Nigerian government 2017 proscription of ipob as a terrorist organization, which he argues led to the prosecution of many young Igbo people. The same statement DSS made was the same statement that led them to proscribe ipob. You people will suffer for the consequences you have done. It is now or never. It's also the same thing that led to the proscription of ipob and hunting the young Igbos as terrorists, he said. Kanu, a British Nigerian political activist and leader of ipob, has been a central figure in the agitation for the secession of southeastern Nigeria under the proposed state of Biafra. His fiery rhetoric and calls for self-determination have frequently put him at odds with Nigerian government. And the article continues, but the fact must be the fact. That was what Kanu said. For those of you who call Kanu all sort of names, everything Kanu said, time will come, you people will still fall back to it. If you like, begin to rant your mouth because you don't know Kanu, because his name sounds Igbo, because you don't know what he stands for, you don't know that he meant well for you, begin to rant, do what you want to do, no problem. But the reality is going to hit you, and it will hit you hard. I learned that some persons also from Mehamofu issues or local government area, that some of them love what Kanu was doing before, some of them hate what Kanu was doing. So there are some political family members, for example now, people from Mba family will see everything that the IPOB do as a wrong thing because of politically affiliated. They don't want anything, they just want to be eating the looted funds. You understand? But when reality hit them hard, bandits is occupying their schools now. They ran out of their villages now. Now everybody is saying, hey, Nnamdi Kanu is a prophet, oh, Nnamdi Kanu is a great man, oh, he said this before, this one. But it is too late for you unless the man is released. So, come rain, come sun, we know that Nnamdi Kanu will be released. Okay? No matter the hula baloo, no matter what you people have done, all these people are doing because of hate and everything, Fullani will overrun you people. And you people will come to your senses. I rest my case then. Let me know what you think on the comment section.
Ethnicity is irrelevant. What matters is the policies being pursued by any specific or particular government or regime, not where they come from. When people tell you nonsense about it is our turn, why don't we wait till 2023? They are only deceiving you. And if you allow yourselves to be deceived, things can only get worse. Fulani terrorists will take over your land. Time and time again, I have warned you on this very matter, but some of you never ever listened. I told our Yoruba friends that this thing you're supporting, this very evil government you're supporting, when they tagged IPOB a terrorist group, you supported them. You are going to pay a very heavy price for it. Had the Yoruba journalist stood up and said, IPOB did nothing wrong, you cannot tag them a terrorist group, believe you me, by today, you will not have Fullani people occupying Yoruba forests and farmlands. Because in this life, what goes around comes around. If you support evil today because you're benefiting, eventually that evil will overwhelm you. The same thing happened to APC, the same thing happened to Fullani Caliphate. They brought in terrorists from all across the Sahel. They brought them into Nigeria to try to force Jonathan out of office. Now Jonathan is out of office. They are now, of course, reaping what they sowed, all of them.
I've seen tons of video recently that the Fullani are taking over the forest of the Yoruba people, like say the Yorubas. The issue now is that what do you think that the Yorubas are mixing, or what do you think that Yoruba did wrong that makes this Fulani to take over their forest, and what should other states do to avoid these same occurrences in the future?
That is the price you pay for duplicity. That is the price you pay for treachery. That is the price you will continue to pay until you rise up and say enough is enough. It is up to you to do it. You did it during NSAS. You can do it again. Can you imagine Fulani people telling you, if you remove Fulanis from Yoruba forest, imagine Fulani telling you, if you remove them from your ancestral lands, there will be war, and you are panicking. And you have not asked yourself, why are they not saying the same thing about the East? Why did they not say to Eastern Security Network? Why did they not say to me, if you don't stop evacuating Fulani terrorists from the forest, there will be war? Because they know, they understand psychologically that you don't have what it takes to resist them. Your lives are being taken away from you. Your forests are being occupied. Your mothers are being raped. Your daughters are being abducted. And the whole national government, presidency, is supporting such people. And you're telling me that Nigeria is viably sustainable. Is that what you're telling me? That somehow this contraption is sustainable, it is viable. It can never be. Because the more you stay in one Nigeria, the more you are inviting the Fulanis to take over your ancestral lands, to take over your villages, and to make life a misery for you. That is the end game. That is the outcome. If you doubt me, go and do a bit of research. Ask yourself, who are the Hausa people? Who are the Nupe people? Who are the Bachama people? All of these people were steamrolled by the Fulani march to the Atlantic Ocean. And now they're in Yoruba land. They're in their forests. They are in their forests. And who is going to drive them away from there? If not the Yoruba youths. Forget about your useless governors. Your elders are very strong. I love Yoruba elders. The way they behave, the way they talk. Very, very strong. They said they support Akeredolu. This is the governor of Ondo State. They support him in what he's doing. People must come out to say that enough is enough. When you travel to the north, do you live in the forest in the north? The Igbo people in Sabongeri in Kanu, are they living of course it's Hausa land, are they living in the forest? They came to the town, they work very hard, they build houses, they build mansions, they develop the entire place. Is that not what they do? What are Fulani people doing in our forest? Nobody can answer that question. They say that they're pastoralists. World aspiring to be a member of the UN Security Council, where you move cattle from place to place. Are you people well at all? You so-called Nigerians, are you normal in the brain? I'm asking you a simple question. Show me a country that aspires to be in the 21st century, moving cattle from place to place, telling me they're grazing. Which country is that? Please tell me. All of you don't have any shame. When you have people, an entire presidency coming out to defend a very primitive, archaic agricultural practice, then you know you embrace serious mess. You are in one almighty trouble, I'm telling you. People are in a mess. The Holland that you get your pig milk from, do they move cattle from Rotterdam to Amsterdam? I'm asking you a simple question. But they produce the pig milk that you're drinking every blessed day. Why can't Fulani produce pig milk in Sokoto? Why can't they produce carnation milk in Kanu? They have the cattle. Before the white man came, did you see any Fulani in your forest? All these people talking rubbish about movement of cattle and movement of... I'm asking you, before Britain came and handed over Nigeria to Fulani, ask your grandfathers, please, or your grandmothers. Centuries ago, You have to go back to history to understand how Nigeria came into existence. Fulani has been expanding from day one, from Senegambia. All the way from Senegambia, they've been expanding, and now they are in Okigwe. All the way from Senegambia, they are now in Okigwe. You are setting up yourself to become like the Hausa people. Remember when Hausa was supporting Fulani? We are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. Where are the Hausa people today? I ask you. Where are those Hausa people today? Do you see them anymore? They're saying we are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. Do you see them again today? Do you see them? I'm asking you. No, because Fulani have completely overwhelmed them. It's called emasculation. Completely emasculated them. And what is happening right now? I ask you, what is happening now? Fulani have now come out to tell you we are Fulani people. Is that not what they are saying now? They are not telling you we are Fulani. No more Hausa Fulani. What does that tell you? That the Hausa race no longer exists. Do you want the same thing to happen to you? Hausa is gone. It took Fulani very many years before they came out of their shell. Remember before, many years ago, they said we are Hausa Fulani. We are Hausa Fulani. Because that time, their subjugation of the Hausa race hasn't been completed. Now they have completed it. Have they not completed it? In the East, they come to the East, I will tell you, oh, you want to be the president or vice? Yeah. They say, give us land for Ruga. They give them land. I saw Joseph Okado did that law Banta. They have taken it over in forever and ever. Give us land in your state. Hope of them prove to us that you are our stooge. Give us land in Olo. Hope of them will give them land in Olo. We can go and kill people in Obibo. We can kill for them. How many Fulani governors are prepared to kill bandits? I didn't say normal people. I'm talking about armed, dangerous bandits. How many Fulani governors? Go and read your newspapers, you will see it there. Fulani governors are negotiating with them, giving them arms, giving them vehicles, making sure that their life is no longer a misery. But see, they come down to the south. They tell you, give us land for Ruga. Go and kill your people to prove to us that you're one Nigerian. That was why Obi was talking rubbish. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Supported by the BBC. The problem you people have in Nigeria is this. Your journalists, you see people, Punch newspaper, Tribune, Vanguard, and Nation, they are your second worst enemies. I'm telling you the truth. They can never ever be objective in their reportage. Never ever ever. That's why all of you are suffering. But you don't know it. They were the same people used to scuttle the NSAS protest. Of course, some of you went about looking for Indomie in warehouses. Only Fulani stooges can now imagine the East. It took them very many years, nearly 50 years, to accomplish this very simple task of making sure that everybody, be it Ohanese, be it Pandef, be it governor, anybody you're bringing out must come to the north to swear allegiance to the caliphate. All of them. Ban on. Is there any political godfather in the East? There is none. They all go to the north to go and swear allegiance to the Janjaweed. That is why our life is in a mess. That is why they can do something like Obi also and make him the Ohanese President General. In front of our eyes, in front of Korokoro. And what did they bribe? They gave money to BBC. They gave money to all Zoo newspapers. They started to trumpet Obi also, Apex Group, Apex. You saw them holding their meeting under a canopy. A ton without shame. A whole Ohanese. Under sand, ton canopy. Maybe you saw it disgraceful and shameful. Talking rubbish. The man looks like a Janjaweed anyway. Talking nonsense. These are people they have prepared for you to sell you down the drain. By the time the Fulanis are done with you, believe you me, if you don't rise up now to fight for your freedom, by the time Fulanis are done with you, you'll be more useless than a Hausa peasant doing Babiala. In 2014, 2015, 2016, they said he's a warmonger. He's a warmongering. I went to America and I told World Igbo Congress that this war you are avoiding is going to come to your villages. They said, no, it's not going to happen. What is happening today? When Yoruba was supporting the dead idiot called Buhari, did I not warn them that this evil you're supporting will consume you? They never listened. They never wanted to listen. IPOB is a terrorist group. You're trying to divide Nigeria. But Mietiala is not. People that you are calling bandits, have you heard anybody come out to say, please, Buhari, since presidency is there defending terrorists in the forest, why don't you proscribe them? No, you cannot proscribe a Fulani group. Never. And all of you are supporting evil. When there is the proscribed IPOB, proscribed indigenous people of Biafra. These are Yoruba journalists writing junk. Every day they keep writing rubbish. But their land is under siege. In order to ensure that they get into you, they subjugate you. Look at Yoruba land, Ilorin. Yoruba, how did you lose Ilorin? You lost Ilorin because somebody thought or felt that by aligning himself with what he felt was a superior Fulani force, he can defeat his own people. Afonja, what happened? As a result of that miscalculation, the great Yoruba race lost Ilorin to Fulani Caliphate. That is why in Ilorin you have an emir of Ilorin, not an Oba of Ilorin, answerable to Sokoto. That is where Lai Muhammad comes from. You can see them. Sokoto slaves in Yoruba land. When I say that it's not religion, it has nothing to do with religion.